them. But I'm telling you right now that it is real, that it is painful, it is brutal. And I'm standing here before you, willing to take the hate, willing to take all the negative messages and tell you that I beg you to wake up, to speak out, and to not fall for this lie.
Because the moment Micky McCoy's wife leaked those text messages, everything changed. Screenshots, voice notes, private conversations, a whole chain of evidence that made people stop and ask, wait, what is this? If the leaks are real, they point to far more than backstage tension or petty gossip. They hint that Erika Kirk, along with high-ranking figures inside Turning Point USA, may have known something before it all went down. And that's when people started saying it. Little lies always lead to bigger ones.
Did Erika Kirk just accidentally expose TPUSA for lying?
How did you find out Charlie had been shot?
I was at my mom's doctor's appointment. I put my phone down and it was on silent, so I had no reason to look back at it. When I moved my mom, I went back to grab my phone, and that's when Mikey started calling me. Called me within seconds.
She said that Mikey called her within seconds, which does line up with this clip of Micky McCoy, Charlie Kirk's chief of staff, picking up his phone as soon as Charlie was shot. We talked about this a couple weeks ago and about how bizarre and weird it was, his reaction, not running, not jumping to Charlie's aid, but instead making an immediate phone call, kind of like he knew that things were about to go down. Not saying he did, but that's what it looked like. And this led to the TPUSA folks responding, saying, no, Mikey was actually not on the phone.
They're alleging that he was on the phone immediately. He was not. He was taking social videos, which he would send to our group chat, which we would then put on Charlie's social while the event was happening, so you could see like the crowd come in or his interactions. And we were only 2 questions into this event, so he was still getting it out to all the chats he needed to do, which he did at every event. He turns around and it was so blaringly loud, I'm told. You would know this better than I, but this is what I'm told. It was so blaringly loud and he was so shell-shocked. He put his fingers in his ear, but his phone was still in his hand.
Okay, so now we have 2 different sides of the story. Erika says that Mikey called her within seconds, but Andrew Colvett here says that Mikey was not on his phone, but rather just putting his hands up to cover his ears from the loud noise. Some may see this as a small detail, a potential small lie, but what I'll say to that is people who tell small lies also tend to tell bigger lies at some point. So Mikey, we're gonna wanna see that call up.
So, when Mikey's wife hinted that there was a call before everything unfolded, a call the cameras never saw, the internet lit up. If true, that single phone call could flip the entire Charlie Kirk incident upside down. Netizens called it a silent betrayal. What shocked everyone the most wasn't that the leaks existed. It was where they came from. Not an outsider, not a clout chaser, but the wife of the man at the center of the chaos. The same man calmly answering his phone seconds before the incident. From that moment on, all the familiar footage felt different. Every word in Erika Kirk's post-incident statement, every awkward thank you, every stiff smile, suddenly carried a different weight. Because when his chief of staff starts acting suspicious, and his wife starts dropping private evidence, it's obvious something is happening behind the scenes that nobody wants exposed. The internet didn't randomly decide to accuse Turning Point USA of hiding something. It all began with a single post, late at night, from a mysterious account later traced back to Micky McCoy's wife. No explanation, no caption, just for chilling words. They all know. Within minutes, the screenshots exploded online. Inside them were details about timing, security coordination, and one line allegedly written by Mikey himself. And worse, a voice recording began circulating. A trembling woman whispering, "I can't keep quiet anymore." This was not an accident. Most people believed it was Mikey's wife. Others thought it was someone trying to protect her. Either way, the voice sounded. Terrified, then the bombshell dropped. The timestamps in the leaked screenshots matched exactly with the viral event footage. The moment Mike quietly picked up his phone right before everything happened, what once seemed like coincidence now felt orchestrated. Reddit, TikTok, Twitter, all of it exploded. Creators were dissecting every frame, asking, what did Erika Kirk, the TPUSA team, know before the incident? Because if even part of the leaked messages are real, that day wasn't chaos. It might have been a premeditated setup, and the messages that went viral, they were short, but absolutely bone-chilling. Everything is ready. Stay calm. We've rehearsed this. Make sure the cameras are still running. Erika already knows. Those were words. Erika already knows have become the phrase haunting the internet. Then came another twist. Around the same time the messages were supposedly sent, Mikey's wife posted a short Instagram story. The truth always finds its way out. The post disappeared in minutes, but the damage was done within 24 hours. Creators everywhere were asking, did TPUSA orchestrate this? Was Charlie betrayed by his own inner circle?
Yeah, when the clip was brought to my attention, I obviously have a file, a big folder of files of every angle, and I decided to track Mikey from every angle available to see, like, maybe we just missed it, and he did at some point put that phone down, dial a number, speed dial, hold down one, I don't know. Maybe we missed it. Because that seems automatic, right? 0.834, that seems pretty quick. And no, No, he doesn't do that. We even have him in front of Charlie's car. When Charlie is brought to the car, the waiting car rather, he is still on the phone. I can show you the clip of that. Take a look at this. Don't worry, we'll slow it down for you. See him in the background with the backpack. Let's go back a little earlier in the footage and see if we can find when he actually maybe dials onto the phone. Maybe we can see him pick up the phone and begin a call before the shot takes off. And then after beginning that call, if we're following this logic, that would mean he puts his phone down until Charlie gets shot. And we were able to find what we think could be that moment. And I can tell you that it is 1 minute and 45 seconds approximately before that shot goes off. And we can watch that here. You see Mikey's on his phone here. And you're going to see he pulls it up and he starts to cover his ear again. Now, that could be unrelated. Again, we're taking a guess here. That's what made the most sense to us because we couldn't justify it in any other way. And I want to be clear, we're not here to make assumptions, okay? And we wouldn't have to make any assumptions if Turning Point USA could just tell the truth. They could just be open and they could be honest about everything. Okay, I obviously went out to both Mikey McCoy and Andrew Colvett for a statement, asked those two questions. Hey, who were you on the phone with? What's going on here? No response. Weird. Because if that was me and I saw clips going viral and people were drawing conclusions from that clip, thinking that I was already on the phone, thinking that my reaction was weird, I would instantly hit back. I'd say, here's my call log. You wanna know who I was on the phone with? 911, obviously. I was freaking out. I called 911. I didn't know what I was doing. Here's my phone. Here's my whole call log for that day. But this is, I don't know. I guess we live in a world where that doesn't make sense. I would have issued a statement to dispel any rumors, but they have not. Here's what I want to say, and I honestly understand I'm preaching to the choir here. Everything about this is wrong. You know it, and I know it. I actually know it better than most because I helped build that organization.
The moment the story hit the internet, everything exploded. The event footage was suddenly being studied like a crime documentary frame by frame, second by second. Every glance, every pause, every expression in Erika Kirk's speech was now being reinterpreted through the lens of the leaks. But the twist no one saw coming was this. The leaks weren't just being used to question the messages themselves. They were being used to suggest a pattern coordination, planning, and a silence that felt to synchronize for comfort. It was the type of silence people online only associate with the group. That knows more than they're saying. Then came the clip that blew the story wide open. Everyone had seen it by now. The slow-motion video from the TPUSA tent. Charlie Kirk speaks to the crowd, everything calm. And right behind him stands Mikey McCoy. Then, just seconds before the incident, he makes a small, subtle move, picks up his phone, brings it to his ear, turns away, and exits the frame. It lasts barely 2 seconds, but those 2 seconds triggered an online frenzy. Commenters didn't see panic. They didn't see confusion. They saw calm to calm. The kind of calm that made people wonder whether he already knew something was about to happen. And when viewers compared that moment to the alleged message that said, "Stay calm if it happens," the coincidence felt almost scripted. TikTok broke the clip apart from every angle. Reddit slowed it down to the millisecond. Twitter, X turned it into a digital manhunt. Another camera angle even captured Mikey slipping out a few moments before everything unfolded. To some, it looked like nothing. To others, it looked like the missing puzzle piece that tied all the online theories together. But the detail that really set the internet on fire came from a freeze frame. Around the 6-second mark, viewers claimed Mikey's lips were moving as if he were already speaking on a call, even though the footage didn't show any sign of an incoming ring or vibration. To online investigators, that wasn't just interesting, it was suspicious. So, when the leaks mentioned Erika knew and the footage showed Mikey already on the phone, before the chaos began, the narrative shifted. What had been rumor now became a repeating theme across social media. Was this a warning? Or was it a signal? A few days later, with the controversy still boiling, Erika Kirk took the stage for the first time since the incident. The lights dimmed, the room hushed, and she delivered a heartfelt speech honoring her late husband. But what caught the internet's attention wasn't the grief, it was the name. She highlighted over and over, "I want to thank the board of directors of Turning Point USA and my husband's incredible chief of staff, Micky McCoy." She said it once. Then again, louder. Micky McCoy is amazing. Within hours, TikTok was flooded with clips labeled, "This feels rehearsed." Reddit threads dissected her tone. Body language breakdowns claimed her expression shifted whenever Mikey's name came up, almost like she was following a prepared cue. What made it even more chaotic was the timing. These theories exploded right after leaks that were allegedly tied to Mikey's wife. Suddenly, Erika's praise didn't look like gratitude, it looked like strategy. Like someone trying to get ahead of a narrative before the public turned against her. Questions multiplied. Was she defending him? Was she deflecting? Or was it all just grief being misread by millions? Then the contradictions started. Mikey's father, Pastor Rob McCoy, publicly stated that his son stayed with Charlie during the chaos and helped him. But the video didn't support that. Instead, it showed Mikey walking out of frame with a phone to his ear. Erika Kirk told the New York Times that Mikey called her seconds after the incident, saying he needed help. But the timestamps floating around online didn't match that version either. Some suggested the call connected before the incident began. Rob McCoy said he was the first person Mikey called. Erika said she was the first person he called. Neither mentioned the group chat. Both timelines couldn't be true. Then came the official Turning Point USA statement. It arrived quickly, some said, to quickly uplifting Mikey as a calm, heroic presence. But again, it didn't clarify any of the contradictions flooding the internet. Every attempt at clarification only deepened the confusion. Every retelling contradicted the footage. Every explanation sounded rehearsed. And that's when people stopped asking whether something was being covered up and started asking how many people might be involved, because the moment the leaks dropped, the clip went viral and the timeline stopped lining up. It felt less like a misunderstanding and more like a story slipping out of the organization's control. By morning, TPUSA was in full crisis management mode. A wave of articles appeared almost instantly, each painting Micky McCoy as a loyal, composed figure caught in a chaotic moment. But at this point, no article could calm the storm. The internet had already chosen its battlefield.
This is one of Charlie's guys, and it makes me so effing mad.
Hello, everyone. My name is Micky McCoy. I had the unique honor, blessing, and privilege of a lifetime to not only call Charlie a precious friend, mentor, but to travel with him literally everywhere.
Then came the tribute videos, bright lights, polished production, emotional music, each one painting the same picture. Mikey is a steadfast hero, but the public wasn't buying it. The timing felt perfect, almost scripted. Barely a week after the leak spread online, Mikey appeared at Liberty University delivering a flawless speech about Charlie Kirk's legacy. No mention of the call, no acknowledgement of the rumors, no loose ends. It was smooth to smooth. Too many viewers, it didn't feel like a memorial. It felt like rehearsed messaging. Then things shifted. Micky McCoy's wife vanished from social media. Posts deleted. Accounts locked. Comments disabled. Some online voices speculated that lawyers were involved, but to the public, it felt less like protecting reputations and more like containing a narrative inside TPUSA. According to chatter circulating online, employees were suddenly quieter. Slack channels once full of activity reportedly became tense. There were whispers and verified but persistent that NDA letters were updated, and staff were encouraged to avoid posting anything related to the event. The more the organization insisted it had nothing to hide, the louder the internet suspicion grew. Because when a story starts to get buried this aggressively, people assume someone is finally speaking up. And that's what made these leaks hit differently. Not because of what they said, but because of who they were said to come from. Not a reporter, not a political rival, but from Micky McCoy's own wife, someone close enough to have seen things the public never would. The messages attributed to her didn't read like gossip. They sounded like emotional release, like guilt, like someone who felt they waited too long to speak. I wish I'd said something sooner. Those 6 words spread everywhere online. And if they were even partially true, then the people closest to Charlie Kirk may have known far more than anyone realized. Suddenly, every tribute, every polished speech, every glowing spotlight on Mikey felt less like mourning and more like calculated damage control. Then came the flood. Within days, TPUSA executives began posting synchronized tributes, videos, and statements praising Mikey. Podcasts, speeches, press releases, the works. His image appeared everywhere. If the goal was to calm the public, it backfired. Instead, the coordinated messaging made the online community even more convinced that something was being concealed. Mikey himself maintained absolute silence. No statements, no clarifications, no comment about the call scene in the viral video. Only brief mentions of faith and forgiveness in rare appearances. Meanwhile, his wife disappeared from every online platform. People claiming to know her said she was warned not to speak. Others said she was frightened. All unconfirmed, but silence always attracts speculation. Because when someone is wrongly accused, they usually rush to defend themselves. They show receipts. They challenge rumors. But hear nothing. No rebuttal. No counterproof. Just silence. That silence is what keeps the internet from letting the story fade. Because now the pattern people see is familiar. Deny, deflect, disappear. Viewers rewatch the footage with new eyes. They notice small details, expressions, glances. Moments that once seemed harmless now feel heavy with subtext. Some believe they see people repeating the same lines, praising Mikey with a tone that feels rehearsed. And that's where the most unsettling question spreads. If Micky McCoy's wife really leaked, what people online believe she did? If those messages are even partially accurate, if multiple timelines contradict each other, then maybe this wasn't a random chain of events at all. Maybe it was something organized, managed, and polished into a different shape before it reached the public. And that's why this story hits deeper than anyone expected, because beneath the politics, beneath the headlines, is something human and quietly disturbing. The idea that someone on stage with you, someone you trust, someone smiling beside you, might know something you don't. The bright smiles, the public thank yous, the repeated praise. It all starts to feel like a script being read to keep everything from collapsing. And then there's the wife, the one person who broke that script. Maybe she was scared. Maybe she was angry. Maybe she simply couldn't hold the weight anymore. Whatever her reason, she changed everything. And once the illusion cracks, no amount of polished speeches can repair it. So what are we left with? Conflicting timelines, vanishing accounts, deleted posts, a viral video with unanswered questions, and millions of people online who refuse to move on because the truth rarely vanishes. It hides in the gaps between words, in perfectly edited videos, in statements so smooth they feel unnatural. In the stories, silence isn't peace. Silence is strategy. And whenever a story becomes too perfect, too rehearsed, too clean, that's when the public starts looking for what's missing. And maybe, someday, someone who saw it all will finally speak. Not through a tribute, not through a press release, but through the truth. Until then, the silence remains heavy enough to make the world listen. According to public online discussions, this topic continues to draw attention. This narrative reflects only the interest and commentary circulating online, and it makes no claims about anyone's private actions or intentions.